So as you may know, there have been a number of changes done to this machine since you last saw it. But before I go into those changes, I want to show you a few things and give you an overview of the machine for those of you who haven't watched my previous videos. I have demonstrated this for you before, probably multiple times actually, but I will do it again. And I'm going to start off with the machine's basic information here. This is a factory refurbished IBM Lenovo Thinkpad T61. And you can see it's been serviced, and a little bit more about that sticker and why it looks so terrible. And I cannot believe they were this cheap, but that isn't an actual orange sticker. It looked orange when I got it, but I went to go clean the machine, and it turns out it's actually just highlighter. It's a white sticker, and they highlighted it orange, instead of just making an orange sticker. Probably just to save manufacturing costs, and to have to make less stickers. But it is Energy Star capable, or compliant. And you may notice something instantly about these latches. I think it's some kind of metal. I'm thinking. I don't think it is actually plastic, but it's silver. I'm thinking it might be magnesium alloy. It might be the actual chassis. Whatever it's called. Sorry, I'm really strapped for vocabulary today. On the bottom, there's really nothing to show another used equipment sticker. These feet are really worn down. This machine has seen a lot of use. It's my use. I've used this since I got it about a year ago. And more on that in a second. You can see your own product keys there that I'm not too keen on giving away to people. Again, feet are worn away. These are even worse. Or that one seems to be the worst out of all of them. That one really isn't that bad. You have your dock port there, as emphasized by the dock port symbol that the camera will not focus on. I'll tell you something, I really hate the autofocus on this camera. There we go. The battery is the smaller type, so it doesn't give me as much battery life as the other one does. I do have two loan-out machines that do have the extended battery, one of which I've shown on my channel before. It's kind of dirty. And ports on the front, when it cooperates with me. We have a 1394, that is the inverted, that's the mini style. The wireless radio on and off switch, power. The screen latch, inputs and outputs for audio, this being the microphone. That being the headphone and this being the microphone. I always get those mixed up because it was the other way around on my satellite, which, by the way, is now buried 5 feet deep in a landfill because it broke. It finally quit. The hard drive. The, I have a CD-ROM here, which this is the hot swap bay. You can simply remove stuff by ejecting it, and without breaking it, you can remove what is in the hot swap bay, which I happen to have a CD-ROM in there. And I think it's a DVD-ROM. The CDRW DVD-ROM. ROHS capable. Which, more on that as well in a second. I do actually have the optional hard drive tray for this thing. But I don't have a hard drive that will fit in. I need an 80 hard drive that doesn't have data on it. That's crucial. Unplug that so I move the cord around with me. And I end up moving the cord around with me anyways. I want to break this machine. Give it too many static shocks. We have a USB port on this side. And stop this. Right here is the hard drive cover. And over on this side, which I apologize for the very terrible video that you're getting right now. we have the rest of the ports, which would include a VGA, the communications, telephone modem, Ethernet, 2 more USB ports, and the PCMCIA. I'm not sure exactly if both of those are 2 PCMCIAs, but they would be card bus capable, if I'm thinking correctly. If card bus actually still even exists as a whole. On the back, you just have your standard Kensington lock and your port for the power brick, which is not fraying and not breaking, like so many of these do. It's one of these style connectors, and you can see it's kind of bent at a weird angle, but nevertheless, it isn't broken, so it's not like it's bent to the point where it's fraying and breaking. But let me tell you a little bit about the specs of this machine, and I'm going to get into what has changed. The memory and processor, those will never change. Well, the memory might at some point. I'm probably going to put more memory in this machine. It still has the 1.8 gigahertz Intel Centrino. It's actually a Core 2 Duo T6100 processor. 1.8 gigahertz. You can see your Windows Vista Basic sticker there. These aren't worn off, which is quite amazing. The touchpad is actually an amazing touchpad. Palm rest is in amazingly good condition. The touchpad is actually in pretty good condition too. There's no real wear, although you can probably see it at this. Yeah, you can see it at this angle. You can definitely see it on these key, on this key, and the keyboard is wearing down. I've used this basically non-stop for a year. The fingerprint scanner, which again, amazingly in good condition. It's not wearing down anything. But memory hasn't changed. It's still got a gigabyte of memory in it. But here's what has changed. The only thing that this really has needed over the years, over the 1 year that I've had it, it's shipped with this hard drive. And I think you know where I'm getting at here. It's a Seagate ROHS capable 7200 RPM 100 gigabyte serial ATA hard drive. Maybe a couple weeks ago, this drive started suffering from a bad sectors. Even more than it was before, and eventually it just failed to start up altogether. It would fail to format, it would fail to do anything, so pretty much done there. So I replaced it with the hard drive from the satellite, which, by the way, is buried 5 feet deep in a landfill because it finally failed. The motherboard, I think the chipset, something went wrong there, something became unseated and now it won't power up. Or it will power up, but it won't do any power on self-tests, it won't do anything. So I took the 320, the brand new 320 that I bought for that thing, and put it in here. And I tried to install XP. First disk I tried didn't even boot. I'd imagine it's only like the service pack, it's not the actual installation CD. But then I tried another one. And it would get past the format, it would get past the first reboot. But once it rebooted, it would give me a boot.ini, invalid boot.ini file. And wherever the problem is, obviously it doesn't work. And I tried that 5 times before finally giving up and putting Vista Ultimate on this thing. Which is not the best idea to do, because of course, these only have a compatibility sticker rated for Vista Basic, and Ultimate has all the bells and whistles. Basic does not. In fact, I think the only thing that is lower end on the product level, whatever, product scale, is Vista Starter. Nevertheless, let's move on here. You can see the customized keyboard with all the function keys. Then up here you have the ThinkVantage button, which does a number of things. Your volume control hotkeys. And the track point, which is an IBM thing with the buttons for the track point. Or you could just use the built-in trackpad. I, for one, am used to using the trackpad. I've tried using track point, and overall I like it. But each time I end up reverting back to the touchpad anyways. So you'll see your indicators here, that you will notice. Oh, focus please. You have the wireless, the Bluetooth, the keyboard lock indicators, hard drive activity indicator, power on indicator, the battery indicator, the AC power input indicator, and the sleep indicator. So I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to give you a demonstration. So you can see when it's plugged in, those two indicators come on. It's powered up. Splash screen, we're going to go into BIOS. I'm only going to show the basics of the BIOS. I'm not going to go into all the different settings. This is the startup interrupt, which you get to by hitting the ThinkVantage button. Escape resumes normal startup. F1 enters the BIOS setup, and F12 lets you choose a boot device. So let's hit F12 and see what it does, what it shows up. As you can see, we have the CD-ROM drive, the hard drive, and the local area network, which is on the PCI bus of this computer. You can remote boot it if you want. We're going to enter setup. This is the setup utility. This is BIOS revision 1.21, released in 2007. The EC, the embedded controller, is a 1.06. Those are all the serial numbers. You can see it's got a Core 2 Duo T7100 running at 1.8 gigahertz, a gigabyte of memory, and I'm going to try and find the front side bus speed. Oops. No serial. I'm going to try and find it. I don't know if it tells me that. Might be able to find it. Date and time. I have enabled the extended memory. I can't find it, so I'm just gonna exit out of that. And it will reboot. Shuts off the hard drive in the process. Intel, a product of Lenovo. I just noticed that. Some people could interpret that differently. And here comes Vista. This takes a little bit of time to start up. I'm not going to show you all of that. What I am going to say is that I probably could install this memory as an upgrade, because it really needs 2 gigabytes of memory. And I just got my 2 memory modules stuck together. But these are PC2 6400. And I don't think this machine supports that. I think this only supports PC2 5300 DDR2 memory. And I don't intend on trying that because for fear of breaking something, so let's scan in our fingerprint here. And it goes. Windows Vista Ultimate. Now let me tell you a little bit something about this computer with this operating system. It has a real difficulty, probably due to the lack of actual onboard memory, but it has a real problem doing processor-intensive tasks or memory-intensive tasks. Sometimes the performance gets so bad that it locks out the PS2 bus, which is, I believe, what this is running on. I believe that's what the keyboard and the mouse run on, the PS2 bus on this computer. It locks that out, it locks out the USB, and it locks out, I think it also locks out the PCI bus. I'm not certain. And it just continually churns the disk. Can't be too healthy for the disk, but nevertheless, it still works. I'm just going to let it show you the specifications, and I'm going to close this video. Okay, so you will see Windows Vista Ultimate 2007, Service Pack 2, which is the latest service pack for Vista. A 3.0 WEI rating. It's a Core 2 Duo T7100 running at 1.8 gigahertz. A gigabyte of memory. It's a 32-bit OS. This is a 32-bit computer, so that's all sorts of information that you really don't need to know, but it's okay. And of course, Windows is activated. What I've done here is perfectly legal because I do have the installation keys for this. This is an actual copy of Windows Vista that I purchased. But, nevertheless, I'm not going to show it doing processor-intensive stuff because that could be a little bit much for the computer. But, that concludes my video of the T61 and its various changes. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I hope to see you next time. And until then, enjoy your IBM.